Do we have our sound connected? Yes, we do. Do we have our image connected? Yes, we do. Oh my God, I haven't been on here for so long. This is so weird. This is indeed yours truly, Professor Johanna Sophia of Johanna's Raw Foods and Coaching and the Rawsome Life Project, rawsomelifeglobal.com, and now also a real estate venture. And this is the fitness series that will go into particular segments for this June rejuvenation, but also for the app. So that's probably where you're seeing it. So today is the introduction into fitness over 50. And for those of you who've already participated a bunch, you'll just get a refresher of why we're doing certain things and what is important here. So today is just the introduction, even though I'm going to go through a quick routine so that you see it all in practice and do a little bit of everything. But this program will emphasize each class, emphasize a particular part of our body and why that is important. So let me just go over the 10 steps, and that is the introduction. Obviously, it's an overview. We go emphasizing arms. As we age, especially as women, we lose muscle tissue, and especially, of course, muscle tissue in the back, where we can do relatively little, but still in the overall we can do a bit to tame those sagginesses, which, again, we have to fall in love with our wrinkles eventually if we want to be happy. So I have long decided I love my wrinkles as long as my face stays shapely, and it stays shapely because of running, because of exercising, and of course because of enough rest, which is just as important. Breathing and all of that good stuff too. Posture, if I just was sitting like this, it would not be as good. So and we have to remind ourselves of all of that. All right, so the steps in this program emphasizing, although we always work on the entire body, we emphasize certain areas of the body. We start with arms. We go to back. Of course, so many people complain about backaches and waking up with backaches and whatever that is called. What's that called? When you suddenly have a pain in your back and then you become all stiff for a couple of days. My ex would have those sporadically and be like crippled, but he refused to do the exercises I showed him even back then. So, obviously many of us also invite our own pains, aches and pains as we age, because we don't want to do what we know would help. So then we emphasize the back, then we emphasize the waist, and that is the flexibility of the waist, but of course abdominal muscles are very important to keep our waist strong. Waist and small of the back are particularly important because, as I always emphasize, our entire upper body has nothing but a spine, and that is loose vertebrae on top of each other to hold us upright. Everything else is soft tissues, is organs, is muscle tissue that holds the upper body on top of the lower body, right? There is no bone structure on our sides or front that will hold us up. So strengthening the abdominal muscle tissue and the entire waist all the way around is crucial to allow us to stay upright and not crumble and go crooked. Now, of course, there are other reasons why we have osteoporosis, etc. I'll talk about that another time. It has a lot to do with the consumption of dairy and other animal products. We think we get calcium from them, but we don't. We actually erode our own calcium and interfere with our calcium absorption from plants, which is where we should get it from, when we consume those animal products, particularly dairy, and it enhances osteoporosis. So we're at the midsection, the waist. Next is, of course, something that over the last couple of decades has become so much more a prominent feature in the female, that is our butt. I don't know why, but I laugh at these ridiculous butt implants, and of course they don't do diddly other than destroy the person's immune system, because you have this foreign entity there that has no usefulness. Yes, I have foreign entities in my teeth here that are fake, but there's usefulness in them. It helps me chew the food so I can get good food into my body. You know what I mean? There is no purpose to a butt implant. And I don't even think it actually enhances any kind of sexual experience or confidence experience in the long run. They always look fake. They don't, no butt wobbles like that. Or just like, humans, please stop it. So, but if we strengthen our butt muscles, our glutes, our behinds, it helps us significantly in walking, in getting up, in running, in all kinds of functions that are crucial, again, to being upright and at ease in uprightness. So the particular butt exercises, and I call them butt-exercises. So you'll have fun when we get to the butt-exercises, I promise. Then we work on our thighs and knees. Knees, of course, being the one joint that, well, actually hips, of course, hips and butt again go together. The butt exercises will help your hip joints to remain flexible and juiced up, and so you don't have to get a hip replacement. Problem is, you have to do them. You have to do the butt exercises for your hips to actually remain functioning and not erode. And again, osteoporosis plays into that as well. Same with our knees. So the thighs and knees help us to get up. There's another level at which we do get-ups, but yeah, working on strengthening our thigh muscles, back and front, and our knee muscles helps us to get up from a chair, right? Without having to push on something or hold on to something. So thighs and knees. Then there is a series of exercises that I learned from my personal trainer that I had the luxury of having last summer. It was wonderful. That are specifically for strength and endurance. And they're quite wonderful because they allow us to feel that empowerment that we get from, I never thought I could stand that long on one leg or on or my tiptoes, or that kind of strength exercise. Of course, strength exercise also help the balance. Many of us, I'm ahead of everybody else, lose our balance. I've long lost my proper balance because of too many ear infections as a child and as a young woman. Again, related to dairy consumption, and I know you're tired of hearing it, but it's the truth. So balance is enhanced by those strength exercises, or rather we can better handle the lack of balance when we have the muscle strength to keep us or get us back into position after we lose our balance. As we turn, we often lose balance. Okay, then we have a series of those get-ups. Again, specifically focusing on, so that's number 8 is get-ups. Getting up from places, getting up from the floor, and there are exercises that strengthen exactly those muscle tissues so that it becomes easier to get up without stumbling, fumbling, and or calling for help, right? Now, I have never fallen yet, but of course many people as we age have a tendency to stumble and fall, or turn and lose their balance and fall. So getting back up is the number one concern of the elderly, of us elderly. I'm going to be 70 in a couple of months, so you all have to celebrate with me. So yeah, get-ups. Then we have number 9, something that many people don't even realize is part of fitness, and that is breathing. Now, some of my exercises automatically involve breathing because they are rhythmically repetitive, and that enhances a repetitive breathing pattern. But in many cases, we actually can self-empower and infuse our muscle tissue with extra red blood cells when we know how to use breathing to encourage circulation and to encourage relaxation and to encourage functioning of all parts of our body. It's a beautiful thing. Some of you may have heard of Wim Hof, the famous Iceman. He has developed very simple but incredibly effective breathing patterns that I love particularly. Yes, more so than the yoga breathing exercises that I had learned in the past, because I find them actually simpler and more effective. But of course, Wim Hof too learned breathing altogether from some yoga practicing and from his own underwater experiences of holding his breath in cold water underwater. All right, and number 10 has to be rest. Or rather, in this case, since we're not doing an exercise program on sleeping, yes, today's exercise is sleep for 8 hours straight. But we are learning to completely relax our body in seconds, as opposed to taking hours. So that is a practice that the learning doesn't work in seconds. The learning takes more like 10 minutes. But then you get to a point at which you are so able to see, when I just did that, how my arms are completely floppy. Now, I've practiced this and taught this for decades. I developed the entire relaxation program that I teach at my studio in Zimbabwe in 1982, so it goes back a little bit. Because I developed many methods there that are not culturally influenced, many methods for movement and practice of exercise that are not coming out of classical dance or coming out of even in African culture, but that are neutral in a way that can be done in all cultures. We all breathe and we all can relax our entire muscle tissue, our body. So, and then of course 11 and 12, let's have 12 classes. 11 and 12 will be creating the more personalized programs that work for you, that you love, and or creating the program where you say, I need to challenge X. I need to really challenge my flabby belly, and therefore I need extra work on our belly. So it's on our belly, or on, I need to really get this back at ease so it never happens again when I bend down that I suddenly have pain in my back, etc., or in my neck, whatever it is. So everybody needs to personalize their programs and challenge themselves where they need strengthening, but also, enjoy where they have fun doing things their particular way. So, and 12 can be a sharing of what other people do, just little snippets where we can always learn from each other, because I very much believe that plagiarism is actually learning. So when we learn from everything we do in this life on this planet is of course learned from other human beings. Nobody has invented the entire culture in the snap of a finger. So we learn from each other, we bring in other ideas, and we configure what works best for us. And of course, what works best for us can also evolve and change and mutate. Like certainly I have gone through going to kickboxing classes and aerobics classes and yoga classes, and I've done, the Stairmaster, and I realized that all those modalities are not really me. I wanted something that I can do without machines, without elaborate outfits or stuff, and in any space. As long as there's a little bit of space, all you need is a little bit of space and a chair. Some of my exercises are helped by being on a chair rather than on the floor. And so we each develop our program. For me, it was also very important that my program can travel with me wherever I go. Yes, of course, if you stay at hotels, there will be a gym, and you can get your Stairmaster in any gym at any hotel. But since I often don't stay at hotels, but at people's homes or in a tent or wherever I might be, I want to be able to do my exercise program one way or another. All right, so 12 is gathering and fertilizing each other's concepts and ideas. All right. It's an interesting thing what I'm doing here. Sometimes we plan everything ahead of time. Sometimes the best things come to us as we're in the middle of it. So I have just laid out the fitness program for this program partially ahead of time and partially as I'm sitting here. All right, we shall do the basic run through my routine with very few repetitions because I don't want to take too much time. But next week we will do proper amounts of repetition to really build. Okay, the routine is always that I will tilt up the camera, and the futon really is in the way there. And turn down this light so that it'll be in my face, and get going. Okay, and put the microphone forward. Maybe have a little green smoothie. So good. I don't know, that's just nothing like smoothies. Okay. So we start with upright stretch to make sure our backs are straight, our legs are straight, our neck is straight. We reach 2, 3, 4. We operate on the count of 8. That has to do with music. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Has to do with music because most music operates on a 4 beat. There's some 3s that are the waltzes and other, but a lot of music internationally operates on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. And of course, classical dance and modern dance training has picked that up, and we're used to those rhythms. And if you play any pop songs or so, you will notice that there's this 4 beat rhythm. Classical music too, for the most part, and it'll help you stay on the beat if you have an 8 count. 10 counts never apply. So there's never a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not a musical rhythm. There are the odd ones that are 4, 5, or 3, 5. Actually, I wrote a song myself that has a 4, 5 beat in it. Ba ba da dee dee beep ba da 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 dee dee beep da ba da dee dee beep ba da dee dee beep. No, it's not a, well, I'll think about it. I wrote it in the 80s with my Zimbabwean band, very great musicians. And yeah, so there are also some indigenous music pieces that have these offbeats. But yeah, they're rare. So we operate on 8ths. Next is my little ritual. I love you, my planet. I love you, my sunshine. I love you, humanity. And I love you, my body. It's kind of my way of embracing life and myself in this world. And, you know, of course, the purpose of fitness is so that we can function better in this lifetime on this planet, in this world of humanity, right? I mean, why else would we do fitness? Okay, the first exercise is actually in the routine, not emphasizing arms, which we're doing a little later, but is always softening out and strengthening at the same time the back and the midsection. And it is a turn that is led by the eyes. So your eyes want to go and look as far as you can. Your arms dangle and kind of enhance that turn by loosely dangling. Do not do this. This is not a robot turn. This is a elegant floppy turn. I had this one client who would always turn like this, and I couldn't get him to relax. I think his level of fear of losing his balance was so in his muscle tissue that with all the intellectual understanding, he just couldn't let go and do this. It would always be like this. So that's not what we want to do. We do not want to do robot turns. We want to do floppy turns. Bend your knees a little bit. Feel that you're holding onto the floor with your feet, and look as far as you can behind yourself and over your other shoulder, and let your arms fling loosely. And one. We do about 80 of these turns. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 3, or the set is number 3. Always lead with your eyes, really turn. It makes it an eye exercise. 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 3, 4, 5. Counting also helps us to keep going. 9, because otherwise we think, oh, that's enough. 6, 7, last one. 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And suddenly we feel that our neck really needed that loosening up, and our organs get a nice gentle massage. All of it benefits. All of our body benefits. I'm trying to create all exercises in such a manner that the entire body benefits, not just one isolated part. Okay. Next we would do, but we're not doing much of it today because I want to get to the weights. Burps always have to be let out, especially when you drink smoothies. Smoothies contain a lot of water because they're whipped. So you need to let out that air. They contain a lot of air, not water. I mean, they contain water too, but a lot of air. So the air needs to come out of your system. All right, next we're going to do the wave, and that is curl up and flat down, and curl up and flat down, or chin in and chin up, and chin in and chin up. Now, for those of you who are starting out, that's just going to be a small movement here, kicking yourself in the back, kicking yourself in the front, imaginary. And for those who are more advanced, it's all the way down and pushing with your thighs back up and letting your back really experience that softness. Okay, we typically do 8 slow ones and 8 fast ones. And then we do a back bounce. We bounce 2, 3, 4, 5 with a very flat back, holding all those muscles that keep your spine upright, right? Holding them, you can actually feel them here. Again, chin is up, forward, and you're bouncing that back. The knees are also bouncing a little bit. And then we make it harder by putting our hands under the chin, and even harder by putting our arms out to the front, like that. Then we go a little bit to this side and a little bit to that side. So altogether we're going to do again about 40 bounces. And of course it gets harder the longer you stay in that position, but that's what strengthens our back. These are the main back exercises: the twist, the wave, and the bounce, the back bounce. Very, very important for strengthening the small of your back and allowing you to stand and walk upright as opposed to this, right? So yeah. Now today, because I'm going to, for myself, going to the weights, and I'll show you the weight routine. I will show you the entire weight routine, and then just quickly go through, as an introduction, the other moves that we're doing in a shortened version, because this is just the introduction. Ciao, Bella.
Bye.
Bye, darling.
I'm not letting her out, right?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I could?
Yeah. All right. Cat is allowed out. All right. The positioning again for working with weights should be that your knees are slightly bent. Make sure your knees don't fall toward each other, right? But they're straight. And your butt is not sticking out like that, but in, and you're upright, your shoulders are down, and you're going 1, 2, and you keep the entire body flexible. Do not stand stiff with weights. As we age, we don't want to do like, I'm stiff, I'm just doing this. In my book, the entire body is involved, and if you have to like swing a little bit to get those weights up there, that's fine. All right? So our routine is, and I'm going to try and make a short version actually with just 4 count where we normally do 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next comes to the outside. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go up to the ceiling. 1, 2, 3, 4. Elbows together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next we go to the back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go overhead. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whew. And then come straight forward. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then comes, some people think it's the hardest, the shoulder blade kiss. Shoulder blade kiss, or diagonal. Okay, we go diagonally forward and back as far as we can so as to make our shoulder blades kiss each other. They can't, but we try. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can tell I haven't been doing these because I'm out of breath, doing just 4 instead of 8 of each of these. And then we end again with back and front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, I'm leaving it there for today. And when I do more arm, we will also include push-ups. And I don't do push-ups from the floor. I do, but they're so tiny that it's better to show you to go from a bench or even a countertop or table. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you will say, some will say, that's not low enough, the push. But it's okay. We go, even if it's just a tiny little bend in your elbows, it will strengthen your arms very considerably, and your shoulders, and this muscle tissues in the front of your shoulders. All right. I'm going to quickly show you the chair exercises. And then we have to round it out, otherwise this is going to be an hour-long introduction. Okay, we sit at the very, very edge, sideways on the chair. It does not work if you sit regular on the chair. All right? And you hold onto the back of the chair and onto the seat, and you tilt back and lift up your feet, and you kick those legs out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kick your heels. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we tilt. 1, 2, 3, 4. Either side. Tilt. 2, 3, 4. And center. 2, 3, 4. But of course also on the count of 8. And if that is too hard for you to begin, then your exercise is going to be this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then heels. And try and keep your back straight. Not all the way straight, but don't crunch your organs. That's the main thing. Then we kick the heels. 2, 3, 4. So you go through the routine like this, as opposed to all up in the air. We then typically walk around the chair just to get our legs moving differently. Sit at the other side and kick up both legs together. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, and then heels again and everything else. And for those who are beginners, you can try that. It's still going to be hard for you, trust me. If you can't do both legs together, continue one leg at a time. It will begin to strengthen your legs so that you get to tilting up and kicking in the air. All right, there's more to the routines up in the air. There's all kinds of fun stuff like the kickaroo we do sometimes, where we make loud noises and kick until we can't anymore. We laugh at ourselves, and it's a wonderful thing to encourage endurance with fun. And it's a miraculous thing, it always works. So then we have the last chair exercise is belly crunches, and There we either leave our feet, for the beginners, we leave our feet on the floor again, and we just move the upper body up and down. And it's perfectly fine to start with holding on and even pulling yourself up a little. You will soon be able to do it like this or like this, whichever way works. Okay, but we have a all body version of that I prefer, where again we're sitting at the edge, legs are up and over cross, and the entire body goes out and in, out and in, out, out. All right, again on the count of 8 with a tilt on 4 and another tilt on 4 and coming back. That is of course abdominal work, and if we do the all body, like I told you in the introduction, I try to always involve the entire body in every exercise, even though the emphasis is in the chair exercises is on belly. Now there are other exercises that we will do when we emphasize the waist. All right. Then for both thighs and for get up, we will do full squats. Now, many of us cannot get up with our arms in the air, so we do this, and that includes me. I start with a swing to straighten the back, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I put my arms forward, and we go down all the way to crouching position. Now, if you can't get back up like me, I cannot get back up without touching the ground. You touch the ground in front of you, push a little, and then get the rest on your leg power. We typically do 8 or 10 of these here. The count doesn't matter because it's not a rhythmical thing. And then do something else, and then maybe another 10. And of course that goes into your thighs. All right, and quickly a couple of butt exercises. One is half squats. Half squats can also be with your arms forward. They can also be just tiny like this for your beginners. They will always, if you come back to straightening your knees and putting your shoulders back and your butt tight, they will strengthen your glutes, and of course thighs and everything else as well. And then there's a series of butt exercises that are actually on the floor and go to the back, to the side, and or just the knee to the side, or the knee up in the back, and or the straight leg up in the back. And again, we operate on the count of 8, and we know that we can strengthen our muscle tissue significantly like that. And while I sound all out of breath right now because I'm trying to put a little bit of everything in here, finally there are things like get-ups. So I choose a little stool. Now I'm tall, I'm 5'9", so for me this is hard to get up from a low stool. For some of you it may just be a brick kind of height, you know, when you're not tall. And the emphasis here is on getting up again without touching anything, and I had to literally train myself to bounce my back and forth to be able to get up from this little stool. And now I can every time, but I could not I could not get up from this very stool 5 years ago, even 3 years ago. Has happened in this house, and I've only been in this house for 2 years. So that is to tell you that you can gain strength at any age and get your physical control over your body back. So get-ups involve these kind of exercises, and of course they do need repetition, and a lot of repetition, so that the strengthening happens in the repetition. You know, you go down, you go back up, you go down, you go back up, and the muscles have to do this rhythmical repetition enough times to really require the body to build that tissue. Otherwise, it's just an odd situation out that doesn't do anything. Like, you know, okay, today I had to climb 5 stairs, you know, but it's once in a lifetime, or, you know, it doesn't kind of do diddly to your muscle tissue. Other than you feeling it the next day, like, oh my God, that was so hard, those 5 stairs. All right. I'm sure I've forgotten some important stuff, like plies behind the chair, and there's other things that I do in between that create variations. And of course, I didn't show you the strength exercises and the breathing and so much more. So, but because I have this routine of starting and finishing with my little ritual, I will do it again. Reach, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Swing, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I love you, my planet. I love you, my sunshine. I love you, humanity. I love you, my body. And it's important that you do say those words, even if you feel embarrassed and you don't want to say them out loud. You say them in your head, because it literally changes the chemistry of your relationship with the planet, with the sunshine, with humanity, and with your own body. You know, as quantum physics advance, and as we get more into understanding that behind all matter is energy, holding atoms together, holding molecules together, holding structures in place, such as all bodies, whether it's the body of a tree or the body of a human. Since we understand more and more that we, the human mind, the human being, actually can, to a certain extent that biology allows, biology is not endlessly variable, we can influence our biological well-being. We can influence the production of certain hormones like endorphins and serotonin, and we can influence our body's healing ability, etc. So I'm not saying we can change into a horse. You know, biology is biology, it's limited. So we, however, can enhance this body that we have substantially and have therefore a happier, more fulfilled, more functional life with those muscles in place that we need to remain upright, happy, and productive. Because only when we're meaningfully productive do we feel accomplished, and do we have such a feeling, such a thing as satisfaction, and that is a form of happiness. All right, guys, this has been your introduction into Fitness Over 50, and in the next class, we're going to do the full routine with an emphasis on arm muscle tissue. Ciao! this has been Professor Johanna Sophia of Johanna's Raw Foods and Coaching, the RaWsomeLifeGlobal.com online college that is in development. And you can get all kinds of information on my YouTube channel. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, Johanna's Raw Foods. Follow me on, I'm not on Twitter. I mean, I am, but I don't do anything there. So, but you can see me on all other social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. I do quite a bit on TikTok, and I'm on LinkedIn, of course. And again, subscribe to the YouTube channel, where there is quite a bit of material as well for free at the time. And then you can get more personalized help if you want. I cannot even tell you what a difference it made that I hired a personal trainer last summer for a whole bunch of months that encouraged me to go beyond what I already was able to do. And that is just a wonderful gift you can give yourself. Allow a coach to personalize your particular training or your particular desire to become healthier, happier, more fit, and more functional. So you can hire me for those purposes, but you have to step into action. You know where to find me. You can just Google me, and Professor Johanna Sophia will always get you all kinds of information on how to make contact so that I can help. Ciao for now.